Hi everyone, welcome to Life Tips by Ning. Today's video is about the 10 spirits in your BaZi chart and how the spirits will influence your mindset, which impacts how we make decisions in life. So as I mentioned in the previous video, there are two major relationships amongst the 5 elements, which are supporting and suppressing. And the 10 spirits were developed based on that same relationship. It just gives it a personified name to highlight the traits and characteristics. So let's begin with the first one, discipliner. This spirit came about from a suppressing energy. So for example, if I was water in my BaZi, earth would be a discipliner spirit for water because earth suppresses water. And how this show up in a person's personality would be this individual is super hardworking. The person is responsible and a man of his own words, so it keeps its promises, and it has high regards for rules, regulations, laws. So it almost follows rules to a fault. And it also cares too much about how others think of them and other people's opinions of them, which translate into the behavior of having very high standards for themselves and their loved ones. Because of this restrictive and self-controlling mindset, this person can also live a very high pressure and stressful life. So that's the discipliner energy, but so it's a combination of good and bad, right? On the good side, it's super hardworking, diligent, but on the bad side, it could be too selfish, restrictive. And the second spirit is called the nurturer. That is the element supporting you. So the same example, if I was water, that would be metal in my chart, which translates into the nurturer spirit. And how this shows up in a person's life is think of it as your parents in life who gives you unconditional love and support, the practice of big love. And it can expand into other older people who are more experienced than you, so who can give you guidance and support in life. It also means this person is very intelligent, and it doesn't take them long to learn something, so they're a quick study. So I can see children who have a very strong nurturer spirit in their chart. They don't try really hard at school, but their end result will be above average because they're super intelligent and they study things quickly. They're also lifelong learners. They have this strong drive to learn and being very curious to learn different, especially philosophical concepts in life. And those are the type of people who have a lot of thoughts and deep level philosophical debates in their head about what does ideology look like for a certain topic. But on the flip side, they can, because they're so intelligent and people support them, they get things too easily, so they take it for granted. They don't cherish it. And sometimes they can be a little lazy because there's a lot of thoughts in the head versus actual action you do with their physical body. So that's kind of the nurturer spirit. Next one is called companion. That is the same element as myself. So in that same example is the other water in my BaZi chart. On the mental level, that means your ego, your self-confidence, your self-esteem and self-respect. And on the physical level, that's your physical strengths. So if somebody has a really good balanced companion spirit, they have a relatively healthy body and less likely to get sick. And this person is also independent. But if it's too much of a companion spirit, I can be too headstrong, self-centered, selfish, and self-absorbed to the point that I'm turning other people away. I'm not super approachable. So it's just depending on the degree of a certain spirit. The next one is called expressor. that is the element I support. So if I were water, water grows wood. That would be the wood element in my chart. And how expressor spirit shows up is this is kind of your very fine-tuned, sensitive 5 senses. So you might have a very keen eyes for beauty, like designing cool color combinations that other people won't even think about. Being very expressive, artistic, making arts out there, either like paintings or ceramics or things of that nature. It can also mean food, like you have exquisite taste for refined food. It can also mean like the speech level, so super eloquent, good to get their points across, and persuasive. This person is very passion driven, so it's the polar opposite of this discipliner spirit, which is like, I live in this framework. I care about what other people think about me. I care about social standards. The expressor person is like, what I care about the most is what I love in life. I listen to my heart and I follow my heart to pursue my passion. I really don't care what other people define is the right standards. I go with my own. So it's a very passion-driven person. And it can also mean this person is in a lot of motions, movements, they're busy. They like hands-on activities. Last but not least is the merchant spirit. This is the element I suppress. So if I were water, water suppresses fire. So that represents the fire element in the person, in that example's BaZi chart. And merchant spirit means this person is super goal oriented. So if they have a end goal in mind, they'll do whatever it takes to pursue it until they succeed. And because of that driven personality, they tend to pursue material gains in life, such as wealth, assets, and money. And this person is also super practical and realistic. They're very grounded and just heads down, put in the work in order to achieve a certain visible material objective. So as you can see, like the quick overview, both the discipliner and the merchant, because it's either side of that suppressing energy, that tend to incur more pressure and stress and hard work, but also it means the person could accomplish a lot in life, right? In contrast to the nurturer and expressor energy, which are the supporting ones, those are more like, I'm in my comfort zone, I enjoy life, I enjoy my own creativity, but in comparison, I'm not leading as a stressful life that fits into a certain mold. So that's kind of the highlight of the 5 types of spirits. The reason there are 10 in total is the yin and yang relationship. So in this discipliner category, if that suppressing element is the same yin or yang as my own, because of the same gender, it comes as harsher and more aggressive. So that's the intensified version of the discipliner spirit. In comparison, right, if it's the different yin and yang suppressing element, that means it just reserves certain harshness. So it's the gentler version of the discipliner spirit. So how this highlight of an example is, if it's the gentler version of discipliner, think about it as the official who shows you respect, explain the rules to you, and or this person could be super conservative. I just want to go work for a big company because that's stable and that's safe. I don't want to take a risk. Versus the intensified discipliner could be, think of it as a military general. Like, I have my marching order. I have this impulsive push behind me to get to a certain point. So I might ignore other people along the way to get it. And for that career situation, it could be somebody actually want to take the risk and start their own, like being entrepreneur versus working for a corporation, because they have a higher tolerance for risk. And same thing for this nurturer. If it's a different supporting yin and yang element than myself, that's a gentler version. Versus if it's the same yin and yang energy, that's an intensified version. And typically, you see this intensified column, that has more side effect for the same result. So the gentler version nurturer, they give you support and love in a calm and gentle way. This intensified version might be like too much of a mental stimulation, too many thoughts, to the point of overthinking and maybe even to pessimism. So that's kind of the, but I'm not saying the intensified version is always bad, because sometimes if your chart needs that energy to be more in a balanced state, it's still better than nothing. You're just paying a little side effect for the intensified energy. That's what it is. So for the companion one, if this is the same yin and yang as myself, that's a gentle version, like a friend who gives you love and supporting relationship, versus a different yin and yang. That could be a competitor or somebody who sabotage you or take things away from you. But in the positive way, right? It might even trigger that winning desire to push you to a higher standard. So it plays both ways. The expressor one, if it's the same yin and yang, that's a gentler one. Like, for example, of the speech, right? I can tell you my opinion, but I will express it in a calm, respectful, logical way, and in a high EQ way, to make sure the recipient takes it well. Versus a different yin and yang, the intensified expresser, I'm just gonna be super rebellious. I'll tell you what you think. I don't care how you take it. I might end up hurting people's feelings or rub people the wrong way in order to get my points across. Last but not least, the merchant one. If it's a different yin and yang that the element I suppress, that's a gentler version, versus if it's the same yin and yang I suppress, that's an intensified version. And how this show up as an example is the gentler merchant could be, oh, I do have a strong desire to make money, but again, I want to take less risk, so I will work for somebody else to make money. And I'm conservative and want to take less risk for my investment. Versus this intensified version of the merchant, they could be no risk, no rewards. I'm going to invest my money into the high risk category of stock, hoping for high returns. And I'm okay with the possibility of losing money. So that's kind of a highlight of the 10 spirit. Next, I will share a case to show why does learning this 10 spirit matters in life, and how we can benefit from learning this BaZi wisdom. So take a look at this example. This is a person who was born in the year of Ning, which is yin, fire, and water. The birth month was Ren Yin, which is a yang, water, and wood. And the birthday was Yi Chou, so that's a yin, wood, and earth. And the birth hour was Ren Wu, so that's a yang, water, and fire, right? That's a basic BaZi chart. And if you want to paint a picture of what this person's birth moment look like, so the person is a yin wood. Think of it as pretty flower, a softer flower. The birth month is yin, so that's the beginning of the spring season, almost parallel to our solar calendar of the month of February. It's still a little cold, but it's getting warm up and things are starting to grow from the ground. So what does this little flower need to be healthy and blossom? It needs rain water to make it wet. And it has a lot of water next to it, like one here, one here, one there. Maybe a little too much water to the point of I don't want to rot the root, but hey, you got the water, is better than nothing. And the next, you want sunshine to help it grow, and you have the fire energy next to it, which is awesome. It needs fire to warm it up because February is quite cold in the northern hemisphere. Does it have earth? Yes, it does. It sits right on top of it. That's a farming type of earth, right? The yin earth. That's softer. It has nutrition in it for it to blossom. Does it have metal? No, it doesn't. So that's maybe a lacking sign, because if eventually with enough nutrition from the ground, watering from the rain and the sunshine, the flower grows so big and kind of unruly, you need that metal to trim it into a pretty shape, and it's missing that controlling, suppressing energy in the BaZi chart. And how I translate the reading of the stagnant chart into the 10 spirit, that's the same method I was talking about in the last video. A quick and dirty way is think about how many companions it has, about 40 points, because this is the month position. The second highest is the nurture spirit, which is the one supporting wood. So you have 3 water, quickly counting it. So 30 points of nurturing spirit to grow the wood. And then the expressor spirit is the energy I support. So wood supports fire, and fire has 20 points. Last but not least is the element I suppress. So wood suppresses earth. So earth is 10 for that merchant spirit. So that's a high-level summary of this person's 10 spirit. So why does it matter to analyze all of this? It really helps us answer 3 main questions in life. The first one is, I don't know this person, right? I just look at the BaZi chart. How can I draw some meaningful conclusions about his or her personality? For this person, I would say, hey, you have very high, strong self-confidence, which is awesome, right? A person with a lot of trust in himself and faith in his own abilities. But sometimes you can benefit from toning it down a little bit and start to listen to your friends and other people's suggestions and opinions, because you can learn from others' strengths as well, versus having this falling into this tendency of being too headstrong and egocentric. And also, you're lucky you have a strong supporting system in your life. I don't know, it could be from your parents or other close people you have connection with, but they naturally support you and give you care. And you're super intelligent, you're a life learner, you have this strong curiosity to learn things. But on the other side, you might have this tendency to stay in your comfort zone rather than challenging yourself too much. And you're like a deep thinker, right? Have a lot of deep level thoughts, but not as much as a hands-on person. So that's like how I would read this person without knowing him. And using that calmer, gentle versus intensified yin and yang energy, you can actually fine-tune your conclusion. So for example, the top 2 are the companion and nurture spirits. The nurture one is because it's the different yin and yang, so that's a softer version. So I can fine-tune my conclusions of this reading to say, you're not the type who tend to overthink to the point of driving yourself crazy or going into the dark side. You still have this healthy balance of having a lot of thoughts and mental activity, which is beneficial to trigger your brain, mental health. And then the companion one, because it's a different yin and yang, that's an intensified version. So I can fine-tune that conclusion to, oh, watch out for potential competitors, and how do you turn that into a supporting energy for you, right? Push yourself to make yourself better versus fall victim to sabotaging behavior. And then the second question is, what would be my tips to help this person grow without knowing the person at all? I would say focus on the one you're lacking first. Start with self-awareness. You might be the type who don't necessarily try really hard in life or put in a lot of hard work, because most of the time, most of the things you just don't think is a big deal to worth your energy to pursue. And you might have a disregard for social regulations of rules if it doesn't make sense to you. But still, we're all part of society, so we have to play our role in it. So that could be a self-awareness. I will remind the person to start to change their behavior in that direction. And also this, both the water and wood, so the nurture and companion spirits, are almost too much in this chart. I want to dial it down a little bit. How I can reduce those is by increasing the existing traits he already has that's in balance, which are expressors and merchant. So for example, you might have this tendency to stay in your comfort zone too much or having too many thoughts in your head. But in order to be more successful, let's trigger this merchant spirit by really pinpoint something you find meaning in your life. Once you have this goal landed, you will put in a lot of hard work, efforts to accomplish something. Or it could be like you're in a comfort, like a comfortable lifestyle, but maybe suddenly you have this financial pressure, right, from the merchant spirit. If you have this financial pressure, that might prompt you to put in more work into accomplishing some goals versus just staying kind of stagnant and enjoying your life. So that's kind of a tip for growth, just an example of it. I might also give them some advice on how to maybe share some positive examples on people who are less fortunate, who might not have this strong of a nurture, but they rely on their discipline to get to a certain accomplishment level in life, right? Just share some real life examples to see, oh, there's another option in life I can actually try. And if you combine this with your already strong talent, you'll accomplish great potentials in life. So that's what I would tell this person. Last but not least is, what's the dasha's influence on this person's life pattern and how he will make decisions in life. So again, dasha is that every 10 years, the 5 elements from the external environment will come in and interact with your original BaZi chart, right? It could be, oh, for this 10 years, it's a wood and metal dasha energy, and how that influence with your default mode of mindset. So for example, if during a 10-year period, he runs into a water or water-wood combination dasha, he already has too much, so that's an unfavorable dasha period for him. That could result into even more laziness, more overthinking, more inertia, like I want to stay in my comfort zone, I do not want to push myself, or even more egocentric, like I know the best, I don't want to listen to people. So call that out to let them know, like, this is your blind spot. Be aware of it, and how do you overcome it so you don't fall into this dark side of all the negative traits of having too much of those 2 energies and spirits. In contrast, like each dasha changes, the 5 elements changes. Maybe in the next 20 years, he will run into a fire earth combination dasha. So that's the spirit he wants. And once he hits that period, his mind will naturally get tuned into oh, I have more practical goals. I have realistic goals I want to achieve in life. I want to express myself. I want to show the world what I can do versus only having thoughts in my head. And that can naturally make that person like leverage their natural strength and achieve a certain accomplishment in their lives. So that's why knowing the dasha time, what to do when you're in a dipping curve versus what you should do when you're in a rising curve, and take advantage of that trend. So follow that law of nature. And that's how we can plan our lives to kind of take advantage what our karma looks like over our lifetime. But that's just a quick video about the 10th spirit. But let me wrap up by saying that each person's life, where we are right now, is a direct result of all the major decisions we've made along the way, right? So think about it. If you were to change a different major in school, chose a different career path, have a different marital decision, do you want to have children or not? Those are all major decisions in life that will totally dictate where you are on this path. How we make those decisions are mainly influenced by those mindset and the spiritual energy in our head. And by learning BaZi, you can know your blind spot and take advantage of your strength, so you can have a more successful outcome of your life. So yeah, that's my video for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.